So this would be, I think, a pretty typical, if you ask any Canadian, they probably had this meal at some point in their life, and even quite regularly to this day. Sawadee Hello, and welcome to Tishi Doko. Our last video, we talked about the variety of Canadian food all across the country. And today we thought we'd show you a typical Canadian family dinner. So we're going to be doing a roast chicken, potatoes, and some vegetables to go along with it. So you got your protein, your carbohydrate, and your vegetables. There's lots of ways to roast a full chicken. I like to create a brine for my roast chicken. You don't have to. You can just simply season it with salt, pepper before you throw it in the oven. I like to do a brine, and really all that is that, you can see it here, this has been in the fridge for a couple hours. It's a raw chicken, and this was hot water before, with sugar, salt, white pepper, and a little this herbes de Provence, which is just a French herb blend. So it's been sitting, you let the brine cool down, you pour it over the chicken, and put it in the fridge for a couple hours. And what this does is not only season the meat, but it does help to create a little bit more tenderness as well and protect it from the heat of the oven. Oh, I should also mention there is lemon in here too. So what we're going to do now is prep the chicken for cooking. So when you use a brine, you do have to make sure you strain and get it really dry before it gets in the oven. I'm just going to strain. And if there are any spices, you don't have to worry too much. We will season it a bit more. So next thing we're going to do, you can see there's already a lemon in there, but we are going to stuff the chicken cavity while it's drying out. Well, I'm just going to get this paper towel, start the drying process. So it's pretty small chicken, probably feed a family of 4 quite easily. Already some lemon in there. There's some white pepper just from the brine. I have some fresh thyme from our balcony garden that I'm going to stuff within the cavity. And these are our aromatics that just help to season the chicken as well. I'm also going to use some fresh rosemary from the garden, again, to stuff the cavity with. And what's going to be nice is that, you know, for the potatoes, the chicken itself, the vegetables, with the chicken being seasoned, the fat dripping down when it's in the oven, it'll create a nice thin gravy sauce to go with the meal as well. I'm also going to add a little bit more lemon in, as well as some garlic. So I have these bigger chunks of garlic cut up. I kind of squish them, get the oil start going out. Stuff a little juice inside. Roast meat like this, if you do prefer a particular herb, you can really add really whatever you like. Chicken is a white meat, so herbs and seasonings that aren't too powerful flavored tend to go better, I find. And lemon is nice, white wine, stuff like that. So this chicken's going to dry a bit more. We get some more paper towel. We're going to set it to the side, and we're going to get the potatoes going as well. We talked about how in Canada, a lot of the early European cultures brought their cuisine for Canadian food. So, you know, a roast dinner is very British. But again, you know, using the herbes de Provence, some of the fresh that I included are also in here. So, I mean, it's all very much just herbs that go well with French soups, in French cooking in general, and that was in the brine. So I'm going to parboil these, which I'm not going to cook them all the way through, but I am going to get them soft in the boiling salted water. There is a little bit of herbs in there too, just because I threw some of the chicken brine water in there for extra flavor. And again, with potatoes, this kind of dinner, some people would do mashed potatoes, where you boil the potatoes down, mash them up soft. That's a classic way. Those aren't my favorite. They are good, but I prefer, potatoes when they still have the skins. So what I'm going to likely do, I haven't decided yet, I'm going to parboil them and maybe squish them down, finish them in the oven so they still get a little bit crispy with the skin. The potatoes are boiling. I'm going to do something extra that I like to do on top of the chicken while it's going to be roasting, which also helps for the gravy after. So I'm going to make a garlic lemon butter. We can kind of put on top of the chicken, and it'll help brown the skin and also flavor the chicken as well. Just going to take it now, and not only on the outside, but I'm just going to move it all around the chicken. Again, this was hard butter, obviously, just out of the fridge, so it's not melted too much, which allows you to just kind of jam it all over. I don't have a traditional, chicken roaster I always saw my family have cooking chicken in growing up, but we have this stainless steel wok with a rack in it that doesn't necessarily work too great as a wok, but it works great as a chicken roaster, actually, for a small chicken. And what's nice with the rack is that it's going to catch, obviously, all the juices at the bottom, and that's the pan we'll make our gravy in for at the end. You can either cook chicken on a really low temperature and slower. It generally won't get as brown and crispy skin. That would be around 350. Or you can do it more at 425 for shorter. So 425, for example, if you have about a 5-pound chicken, it would be about an hour to an hour and a half. This one's only about 3.5, 4 pounds, so it'll be less than an hour. So the potatoes are boiling now. While the potatoes are finishing up, I'm just going to cut some green onion. Again, we cut from our balcony garden. Take them out of the heat, strain. Plain potatoes there. So the episode, because the potatoes were different sizes and I had to cut them, and ended up cutting most of them, producer actually suggested I use our espresso tamper. There we go. Alright, so we just got a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to get the garlic, onions in, and give it a little mix. There's some seeds left. I'm also going to get salt while they're still hot. Lemon, garlic, green onion, quick more salt. So I'm just going to preheat the oven for 425 for the chicken, which will cook for probably about 45 minutes. So the oven's preheated. This is going to go in the oven now. I'm going to do uncovered. Final step for this dinner, probably every Canadian kid, especially my age or older, grew up eating peas and carrots. And it's pretty basic. It's just frozen peas, carrots, and because this dish will have a gravy, a sauce at the end, I'm not going to do anything special, just basic. Peas are all ready to go. I'm going to cut up the carrots, and then closer to the end, I'm just going to steam them. Toss it in, and then we'll cover, bring the water to a boil, and then we'll cook it with the steam of the water. Might want to get a little browner later. Potatoes are in there doing okay. It's got to be about 165 Fahrenheit, thickest part. So it's going to get up to 165 because it's still cooking. Those are looking good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw on the broiler off. And cover the chicken. Let's sit here. Yeah, look at that. There's the thyme. He's just making nice chicken gravy. Adding some more lemon juice, rosemary, and softened garlic. Usually the thickened gravy, some people use flour. I'm using cornstarch, just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is add some warm water to go in. Slowly, will help it thicken up. Now it's starting to look like gravy. Sort of. There we go. You got your roast chicken taken off the carcass, the smashed potatoes finished in the oven, basic peas and carrots, and chicken gravy. So this would be, I think, a pretty typical, if you ask any Canadian, they probably had this meal at some point in their life, and even quite regularly to this day. Really simple. It takes a long time, but nothing is too complicated. We hope you enjoyed learning about preparing a Canadian meal. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like our channel, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications. Sadi Kap. See you next video.